It's another hood nigga production, yo. To make a move. Like it, Cinderella want me. If I talk love, you probably think I'm laughing. Why?
Welcome back to another Hood Nigga Productions. Job is which is wounds within society, which is teenage pregnancy and its impact on society. For the benefit of the viewers and also the audience, I'm going to allow my guests to introduce themselves properly because I believe they are brands as well. So without wasting any time, I'm going to hand over to you, sister. Just tell the audience and the viewers out there what you buy.
Okay. Hi guys, igama lami nguSiluleko Khoni April. I am a YouTuber, I am an artist, and I am a speaker.
Igama lami mna ndinguNkosinathi Binini, ndingowasezwide. Also I'm an artist, Ucho. Please do check me out and my content on Facebook, Nkosinathi Ucho Binini, or you can just find me on TikTok, Ucho Nkos.
Hello guys, igama lami nguZekhona Mugoqi. Sebeka balomsebenzi ke uSister Roots Tafari. Mna skills development facilitator and also a creative director ku-NPO Fine Arts and Craft. Ungayishekisha yona ipage yethu Facebook. Look for Fine Arts and Craft Creative Hub, uzafumana umsebenzi wethu. Then for Sister Roots uzafumana ipage yami enkosi.
Okay, nice one. Khoni, uthi YouTuber. What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Oh, the name of my channel is Live to Tell with Khoni. I tackle so many issues that we face, just like you guys. And as a young person, I like, talking a bit more about the things that we go through and also some of my personal experiences.
Okay. Live to Tell.
Yes, with Khoni.
With Khoni, all right. Khoni, K-O-N-I, kanye C-O?
C-O-R-N-E-Y.
Oh, C-O-R-N-Y. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Like I said, we have an audience. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give the opportunity to the audience, to actually chip in, maybe ask questions or maybe pass a comment. And also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, HNP Hood Nigga Productions. Check me out on Arti Mkoto Matawel on Facebook. Check out Tabango Lab on Facebook as well. Subscribe, leave a comment, and like. Okay, without wasting any time, let's hear from one of the members of the audience here.
Mangulele, Hood Nigga Productions for having me here. I'm Kwana Sumba, I'm the artist and Mkhal.
Yes. Welcome to the show, Kwana.
Very much valid points were raised in the story. I admired the stories of our Sister Roots, coming from a different angle. A different perspective from what the society expects from us, And I think there's one thing that that plays a major role. It's the media, That's where we get the programming mostly. The TV programs is in Lala. You find that on prime time is in Lala. Is people who are having sex, and you got a 5-year-old watching these things with you. There's also a very well-known phrase or proverb, an African proverb. It takes a village to raise a child. So, in Yoruba, Sister Roots, atizo umnanake uzomlungisa apha, uzomshabisha, ufane kid, you do all the necessary things, whereas umnanako has to go out there, faces new challenges, So I think it's unfair for parents to crucify kids that way, thinking that because I place these rules and when I'm still went in that direction, so you failed me, you failed as a kid. It's quite ridiculous. Whereas there's so many factors that affect, the growth of a child. So, I mean, because those lie on TV, if I were to give a solution to this issue, how do we make sure it doesn't get so frequent as it is, like it doesn't, and I don't think it is fancy, but rather it's just a reality. Right now, and then they go to school, they talk about it, So when good right, or kind of good right. My sister, has all the necessary resources, but the stuff that she's exposed to, they are contradictory with the reality. And I mean, we have abandoned, isn't it? I have a kid. We have abandoned for a few hours, to engage with them. They spend probably 8 hours sleeping. You probably have them for 3-4 hours. Do you think you'll be able to groom umntana in just 3 hours? But a day with umntana. So, and it's not new. Teenage pregnancy is not new. Ucho did say that abandona back in the days, but the chadis were, the same abandona in teenage years. So it's just that we see societies here. We opening our eyes and says one is that as long somehow they zibangela abantwana bangaphumeleli in future because unalomntana these days. So if we fix the media, we fix the programs that are being played on TV, we fix all meza bethu, fix a team, how we approach the situation. Umntana ungasuki nje bombone pregnant umkhabe, and say all the, the negative stuff about but rather help them and understand the situation, because you find that akungu dad or akumama who's really in control of his, I'm saying a lot, but yeah, but yeah, we really have to, expose our kids to his industry, like very much broad, and at the same time, you really cannot expect Nana who comes home, agadlali sport, agadlali netball, and expect them to think or compare them to Nana who has much better resources, because now middle class again, kids, they engage in sports, quite a lot, multi-neural activities, while Tina Apa, once you move back in what is bigger pans or late, you do whatever you want to do. Of course, you're bored. I saw a chick, she's looking nice and stuff. And the bonita TV, this is what I should say, or this is how I should react. And Tina is content creators because I'm a photographer. Also, I do these things. So the content you're supposed to be creating, when you think you are reflecting what the society, while you are actually destroying, you are giving out the seed.
Yeah.
Because now I saw it on TV. Yeah. I'm gonna do it.
Sure, I know, definitely. Yeah, no, thanks for the point, Kwan. Is there anyone from the audience really wants to chip in, just to brief and straight to the point? Okay. Now, I would like to touch on the point we raised on Mosnat regarding the economics around the topic. I think there's data that proves that the higher the standard of living in a society, the lower the birth rate. And also not just the lower the birth rate, but also the babies being born more often than not are not accidents. They were planned. So I think it's very important how we approach the situation. It's well and good to talk about whether is it positive or negative teenage pregnancy, but I'd rather focus on the practical things about it, like the economics and how we can deal with it. Because if talking about teenage pregnancies, it's a very complex concept.
but every complex thing can be made easy if you look at it in its different small parts that make up the whole thing. So the small parts are, for example, the two people that made the baby. What were they busy with outside of, let's say, school? Like the thing the brother was saying, when people have hobbies, they develop interests and then they develop ambitions. And when you have ambitions that you are serious about, you weigh the option of what you do on a daily basis compared to the dream of what you want to achieve later. So if you want to curb the rise of teenage pregnancy, people have to develop themselves, their characters, their personalities. They have to be exposed to a lot of things. Like when you grow up in Athenkosi, there's very few things that you can do outside of school that will consume your time and maybe test your brain and see what would you like to do after school. So people need to be exposed to more things, more sports, more diverse sports, not just soccer, cricket and rugby. More artistic activities. We have institutions. Even up in Pride, we have the Red Location Art Museum, Red Location Kilane, and it was closed like almost 10 years ago. And there's also the Media Art Center. It's not operational. So we need to have things that keep the youth busy, and so that they can develop their characters and have ambitions, and otherwise be focused on that more than focused on less things that will cripple their future, so to speak. So coming back to economics, in order to prove the economics of the country, people have to start achieving things and have ambitions and do them. That's how babies would be born out of planned situation, and therefore further improving the society as a whole.
Sure.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Everyone from there, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. I'm also an artist. Yeah. But thank you. It is outing. Okay, so my point is this whole thing of parenting, right? And the sex, because the teenage pregnancy is happening when people are having sex and they are unsupervised. Yeah. So my entire approach in that how I feel personally is like parents shouldn't hide sex from kids. They shouldn't make sex bad. They shouldn't make sex this type of horrible thing. But we in and then and then child, because song was a product of unprotected sex, right? So silapa because of that. Instead of them saying by sex in real, they should be honest about it. I mean, songs but I like to think we all have engaged in sex, but it's a beautiful thing. Honestly, I think we should have such conversations with our kids, especially the generations here, instead of like to just like unlearn your ngindo about zalibito basifundise ngayo, this kind of like it crippled us, it just fears, and then we are cool and then you realize, some of the things we were taught were not necessarily the truths. It's just that this nigwa limit into not misbehaving, in a sense. So I just like to emphasize that, if parents could be honest about just your love, because that I feel like our parents are not talking about us openly about. You kind of piece your way through this thing, through friends, through TV, and not to that drunkard angle of yours, and I Tando in a slash, he will talk to you very drunk, under the influence of alcohol, so he will just like say like random things that you're gonna figure out when on your own, and not necessarily be a productive conversation between you and an adult with experience, telling you honestly about what's this thing and the implications of this thing. So I just like to say shift from from like demystifying sex and just like, you know, healthy sexual practices between peers, yeah, because that's another thing, because you find that there are age disparities between the girls and the people who are engaging with sex with, yeah. So like I'd like to just say, but like, for people to understand that, you know, there's nothing wrong talking about sex with kids. You should also like contextualize things, you know, because I also believe that parents can marry go to sex because to go have sex. So I think if we could just like have an honest conversation about sex and relationships and just like sexuality in general, the whole.
Okay, no, siyabulela ndo kwangumile. Do you have anything to say, Kilane? Maybe we can go back to the panel.
Yeah, greetings also to the house. Mnani ngukrimba khumba yabo. Now give it the guerrilla approach this thing, yeah. That it naturally a woman will start falling pregnant from age 12, 13 upwards, and then later on by 30s to 35 already having high chances of not having babies, basically.
Yeah.
So it goes though, the guerrilla approach is that us as African people, due to the economic factors, due to our disposition, we're finding now that we have something called teenage pregnancy. And I'm thinking, I've never seen teenage pregnancy on white people, if I can be specific, since I said I was using guerrilla approach. White people also do fall pregnant as teenagers. I think they even get married at 18. You see, that's when they start families, while they are still fertile and strong. Us, we start families at 40. How do you think your seed is at 40? How do you think your what is at 40? You see, it's beyond its capabilities. You see, so it is not teenage pregnancy, this thing, it's us as a people. They take away our ability to make sure that actually we become parents, because at 12 you're supposed to. That's why Ujo said it, that back then, by the time you were 12 years old, due to the resources we had, you could go and get married and actually build a family. But now we are a dispossessed Africa, we are a raped Africa, we are a robbed Africa, a poor Africa. Therefore, even if we do become an African, it will be a poor one, a raped one, a victimized one. I am not a man, I am a shadow of a man. I have so much fear, I can't even fight for my own bread. You see? So when you are a black man and a black woman, and you fall in love and you have a kid, then it's up to us as a society to take care of that kid. I myself, I got aunts who take care of me. When I run out of shoes, they help me buy shoes. Then if I have a baby, why would my aunt now start cutting that supply and not help me buy my baby some diapers? You see? So they're trying to prove themselves right. We told you, having sex will get you in trouble, and then they make sure I'm in trouble. Sister who said it. See, little families, they always achieve. I have a small family, so I'm so happy to have a kid. I don't have a job. I'm a hustler, but I know I can take care of my kid. I know for a fact. I won't go around asking for help. You see? So where is the issue here? It's at the disposition. You are not a man. You are a shadow of a man. Sure. Black power.
As you have noticed, there were no questions more than points that were made across, as we try to unpack this thing of teenage pregnancy. But I think there's an underlying theme, as society. There's an underlying or emerging views from the audience and also from the panel. The fact that the economics of this thing, are the major factor. Is the major factor. The economic aspect of this thing. But then again, because the economy, starts from the family, and then obviously ripples, has that ripple effect into a microeconomic scale. We're talking about the nation now, how the nation feels itself. But primarily, you have the family as a form, or as a unit of government. So that's where it starts. So if the family is crippled economically, then other aspects as well, like the social, the psychosocial, even socio-political as well, they become wabi, so as cause of money assistance, if you see dispossessed economically, then these things happen. Because now, as I was doing this research, because I did a research on the panel, I did a research on this topic, and also did my research on other things as well that are interlinked into this topic. Number one, but abazali really do not talk to kids about sex. As a result, kids, they go out and explore, for themselves, and then they get into trouble, and then there again, there's no one that can actually guide them forward, Number two, do we feel maybe we could have done better and actually avoid pregnancy? For instance, Ujo, you had your post up in Facebook recently saying you wish there was an alternative. Can you maybe elaborate on that point? That's for you directly. And for you, sister, do you think you could have done differently, seeing that maybe you had your first kid at this particular age and then your second kid, within that time frame? Do you wish you could have done better, or because you are here now, it's all right? And for you, sister, you said this thing was a blessing in disguise, and indeed, I believe so as well. However, when you're looking at it, do you think you could be in a better position should you have done what your parents were telling you to do? Obviously, we're here now, you are doing better, we have your kids, they go through matric and stuff. But do you really think those principles that were instilled by the grandparents could hit differently now? Now that you are here. Yeah. So
No, to answer your question, it does really, as much as it's, having a baby is a beautiful thing. There's also that underlying reality of it being very, very, very exhausting. It does exhaust. So there are times you feel like, I wish I didn't. And then I just wish I didn't have this baby right now. But at the end of the day, it's just things we cannot escape because it's a deal like a God.
Sure. So we have 8 minutes left for this particular segment of the show. And during the course of the show, we're gonna have experts as well who are gonna chip in, right? So I'm handing it over to you, just as it is.
Just to back up in Daitetayo, I did a video on my channel and meditated about my story. It was about my story, how I got pregnant and all of that. And honestly, the reality of it all is that it is exhausting. And the reality is that you cannot really go for the same dreams that you've always wanted for yourself, because now you have a responsibility. I like to you build your life around this human being that you have. You're not building your life around you and what you want and your aspirations. You're building so that how long do they benefit from it all. So the truth is that sometimes I do wish, because there's a lot that you have to consider now, because I'm a parent. There's a lot that I cannot do now because in the Mumzal, even the way that I carry myself, there's a different way now that I should carry myself. I can't be going out every weekend. I can't be doing everything that every young person that is my age is doing, because the Mumzal at the end of the day.
Lastly, over to you.
And from not talk, I do not sit down with emitter. The emitter is sex A, B, C, D, E. Instead, I created systems around the emitter where as I exposed, Kilane never exposed to you. And then from there, didn't get a chance by yena and the about how she feels and ibona njani yonke lento. Mhlawumbe ndithi yena hey, awukabe na boyfriend adiyo abakhali abantu esikolweni. Mhlawumbe ubona le boyfriend ubona hamba nomnye. Ngokubhala ephepheni uyakhala uyabo. So is those systems and is create leyo ba ivele la topic ivele ivuleke achazele ba ukwephi level. I used to hack Facebook wakhe ndichekishe bakwenzeka lo Facebook, but then I decided no, I don't think even she knows on the now. Yeah, she knows now because I stopped doing it. I decided to trust her. I decided to trust her judgment. Because judgment like she is strong. With ill will, we understand. Back to gain about grandma or grandpa. Even my mother again. Grandma or grandpa, everyone from the same house of Olawe, umntana wakhona kwaqunjwa kwathiwa lipanti. Then like after kusele your grandpa no grandpa I pay support. Yabo. So then I had to learn sewing. Like 2005, I was learning sewing so desperate because I needed to wear some clothes. But today, 2001, I'm teaching sewing. So when I don't try to close in Magabana, uyafundiswa xa ubaniswa kuthiwa uzohlala awuzowutya uyafundiswa how to make this bread instead of uba kuthiwa inanasi songa. So now I'm very grateful ngendlela eyayenzeka because I was forced to do ezi zinto and ke yona kanje ibe yi-opposite yalaa nto bandipha isikolo bandifundisa ngolaa hlobo, we understand. So that's my take on this situation.
Yeah. Very interesting. So like I said, we're going to have some experts from the health department, even social activists as well. They're going to share their views as well. We're going to have Ubudbito as well as Upiwa Kenene. They're going to tell us their story as well as Sister Andy as well, who is a homeschool educator. She homeschools her children. So we're going to have those views emerging during the course of the show. But I do not want to waste any time, and I just want to give thanks to the audience for participating, and also to the panel as well, by sharing their views on this particular topic, upon society. So without wasting any time, I'd like to say please subscribe, like, leave a comment, tell us what you feel about the issue at hand, as well as the progress of this channel, HNP Holding Productions, as well as check out their YouTube page, their Facebooks and stuff like that. Go back to the clip and learn what they do. It's another Holding Productions logo. Who's Kylie signing out. Thank you guys. Enjoy.
It's another hood nigga production, yo.
Hey, ake ngokunjani? Njani? Ondawo yoqala apha ndizele esikoleni kodwa lekhaya. Ngumntana wakho lona.
As you all know, every gazi has its dark corners.
It's another hood nigga production, yo.
Listen, Kumbula. So bending a condition can get now. Listen, Kumbula. Listen, Kangela. Ikamalam gunon tokolo. Indwena ziyo intokolo. Atisa nabona bazali. Ndaba yange qale ndlala. Ndibhalela bahlobo bam basemandulo ndibhalale ncwadi ndibhalela bahlobo bam baqeshiwe It's
It's another hood nigga production, yo. You busy asking questions we might never know. Ikasilami movie, just enjoy the show. As we did that when Julie everywhere you go. Niggas moving drugs, bitches selling coke. It's never that too hard if you wanna smoke. Twitter is alive if you need a joke. Shit got me high, I don't need a rope. As I make us, yeah, it's hard to cope. They're losing their lives, trying to hustle too. The hustle at the corners, beating jeans at Joe. That is not too far, you gotta play your role. At the age of 16, that's when you leave your home. Gotta hustle, be a man.